Violet Saena and her team at Climate Resilient Communities ensure that the historically underserved residents of East Palo Alto, Belhaven, and North Fair Oaks have the information they need in order to adapt to our changing climate.
I've seen the impacts of climate change. I've seen how people's lives have been destroyed. Every time I walk in somebody's home to do an energy audit, I see how it is hard for them. We work directly with communities to provide support to residents by building capacity, enabling residents to respond to climate change. One of our goals is to ensure that communities' voices are at the table. I was born and raised in Samoa. When I was growing up, there was a lot of natural resources to live by. You have everything there. It was also those times where you don't feel ashamed to ask the neighbor for salt or sugar if your family doesn't have any. My first job was with the government of Samoa, and my job was a biodiversity officer. I was out in the village working with the villagers, the chiefs, to draw up the boundaries of marine protected areas, and also looking at how communities can lead the management. 3 months later, I was assigned to lead the coordination of climate change related projects for the government. To be honest, I was scared when they assigned the role to me. But the great thing is that there was an opportunity for me to go and get more training, which is why I truly believe in capacity building. After the training, I had to go out to the community to collect data and start communicating to the whole country, like what climate change is. And at the time, the stories were different. Pastors were saying, like, why am I talking about climate change? This is God's creation, God's doing, only God can control it. You have to remember, we didn't have baseline data. A lot of the information and the stories were with the community. What really worked was ground truthing, that listening, what people are saying. Imagine going out in the village and you see how villages are being washed out. You started seeing trees with roots. People are talking about cyclones and flash floods and how they will see their cows and pigs and chickens washed out the ocean because the ocean is right there, ready to swallow their livelihoods. And a lot of these people had all this experience, but never had the opportunity to share it, as a community. As soon as they opened up to share their story, that's when our opportunity to talk about the science, connecting those dots. I got married and I decided to move to the United States because my husband is from here. And I was very surprised to learn that most of the residents in East Palo Alto that I surveyed, and this was back in 2015, didn't know much about climate change. They can all talk about long periods of drought and how that affects their living. But when you ask them about climate change, most of the residents couldn't connect the dots as well. If communities don't understand the threat to their lives, don't understand the impact of climate change, they won't be able to respond or plan for. Morning, Papa. That is why we focus on adaptation. It's those who need the most is who we want to help the most. My way into the communities were through community leaders that people trust. Hello, Auntie.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
It's all about building relationships.
We have to come together and find a common ground to build a very successful community. When Violet talked to me about this program, I shared with Violet the need of awareness.
One of the things that we built was climate change team.
About the air quality in Bellehaven is about 25% worse than Menlo Park, just a mile away.
Where the community leaders and those who are passionate about climate change work and sea level rise and passionate about protecting their communities and advocating for community needs can gain education, awareness, and information.
Turn our eyes to the future, figure out what project we're going to be working on next.
Through that climate change community teams, community leaders are actually at the table working with cities and counties, being the voice of the residents when planning for climate change work.
Doing something that affects them personally is actually kind of more important. And I'm sure most people in the community would want to know how dangerous it is indoors as well as outdoors. So to me, that was the project that I thought.
If they tell us what is needed, and we move by their leadership.
The timeline and how integrated this team was in that process. I would say back in April when we met, the conversation we had in this room was the most important one because that really formed the basis of the survey, and hopefully everyone felt like the
Those are the key things to be able to respond to climate change. Because if you are fully aware of the risk and you have the capacity to respond, you'll be able to adapt. Saving money is a way that I can help people. And it's mostly because I know of programs and government incentives that were created specifically for low-income families. And so what we do is we connect families to resources. We connect families to our partners.
So, una casa, una familia es $100,000 al año, entonces un poco.
Building community work, it's all about gaining trust and owning up to what promises you're making to the community so that you don't just go in, collect, and leave.
So Karen, how are the improvements working out for you?
Solar is helping me, definitely.
You stay on and continue working by their sides.
It's a big difference when you can jump from $150 down to 65 or 69. Yeah, that's it.
Doing this work, help the community understand, yes, someone's paying attention to you. I think we're going to get a lot more people involved because we're now really trusted messengers.
We bring people together and even draw attention to actions that are not being seen.
About North Fair Oaks, Bellehaven, or East Palo Alto, but once we explained the struggles people go through, they were very interested.
You want to hear what is this person thinking? What is their lived experience? And then how can you help them understand the other person's perspective? Because at the end of the day, a lot of the actions are towards one thing: to be able to live better, protect your families, provide for your families. Hopefully, we can all learn from each other so that we can come up with solutions. Community-based solutions, community-led solutions.